Did you know that in America, 1/3 of postal packages never reach their recipients? Sometimes this is due to the mistakes of the transport companies. But the main reason for this huge failure rate is not that. Parcels are stolen by astute people outside the doors of houses. These porch pirates steal packages as soon as the postman drops them off, and before the recipients can pick them up. And worst of all, they are rarely caught by the police. God loves the thief, but he also loves the householder. So it's time for these scumbags to learn a hard lesson. Arthur Russell, a man from the Underwater Disaster Squad, UDES, was one of the victims of the terrorist pirates. Every time a package arrived, thieves would grab it before he could get it, as if they had it set up for him all the time. How much longer would this situation continue? It was getting on his nerves. He had repeatedly called the police, but to no avail. They were not in the mood to engage in petty theft. But something had to be done. These crooks constantly lie in wait for exposed objects outside the doors of houses. Once they make sure no one is looking, they hurriedly steal the package and disappear, hoping it contains something valuable. They grab all packages indiscriminately. Russell's packages sometimes contained something cheap, like toilet paper, and sometimes something expensive, like parts for his car. After much thought, Russell came up with a plan to neutralize the enemy. Russell was a military man and liked order and discipline. Although he had gone through a harsh education at UK, he was a humble, selfless, and compassionate man. The training and dangerous missions he undertook had developed his physical and mental abilities to the maximum extent. It would be foolish to underestimate the abilities of a man with such a background. As we will see later, the thieves made a big mistake in messing with him. If these guys knew who they were dealing with, they'd go somewhere else to steal, not Russell's house. The next time they came to his door, he would teach them such a lesson that they would never set foot there again. He didn't intend to injure them, of course, because then he would get into trouble with the police. After all, it was not in his character to hurt people. Russell always enjoyed assembling mechanisms. His army had been taught how to make improvised mines, and now was the time to put that knowledge to use again. His plan was to set a trap for the thieves that would frighten them greatly. And so much so that after this experience, they are afraid to even open their own parcels. But how would he accomplish this? With a little bang. So he rolled up his sleeves and got to work. First, he made a list of the materials he would need and went to the hardware store. It was an unusual listing that might have raised suspicions with the seller, but luckily, they didn't ask for an explanation. After shopping for what he needed, he began assembly. When he finished construction, the mine looked outwardly like an ordinary parcel. He tried it in his backyard, and it worked great. The noise of the explosion was so loud, his ears were ringing after the test. Seeing his plan come to fruition made Russell overjoyed. But there was still one key component missing. There was no way he could set up this whole trap without also putting in a hidden surveillance camera. If the thief came while he was gone, he would lose the satisfaction of seeing him fall into his trap. So he went for a last walk to the shops to buy it. All that was left now was to set his trap and wait. He didn't have to wait long. The first victim appeared the same as every night. He had connected the camera to the mobile phone and was watching everything. The thief approached the entrance with incredible comfort, as if the house was his own. Russell was surprised when he saw that it was a woman. He stood at the door and rang the bell to see if anyone was in the house. But then he saw the motion sensor light, got scared, and started backing away. Outside on the street, a man was waiting for her in a car. When he saw her retreat, he urged her back to the pack. The woman obeyed. He went and picked up the parcel. And then you know what happened. One big boom. The woman rushed to the car in terror, squealing like a child. She was so scared, she dropped her cell phone in Russell's yard and didn't bend down to pick it up. But Russell smiled with satisfaction. His trap had worked perfectly. Unfortunately for Russell, his state laws prohibit the assembly of explosive devices. The authorities were alarmed by Russell's construction and did not like that a private man had taken the law into his own hands. Police spokeswoman Loretta Cool said that although it had a bullet, the device was illegal. He pointed out that if any thief was injured or decided to sue, Russell would face serious repercussions. Although these scenarios were completely unlikely to happen, officers frowned upon Russell's pranks. Despite the terror caused by Russell's improvised landmine, he claims it is completely safe. He has done many tests that confirm this. In one of them, he had put a tomato in the box, and the tomato was not harmed. But in order not to get into legal trouble, he put a sign in his yard that read "No entry." He also put the sign "CAUTION" on the mines. Thus, anyone who chose to ignore the warnings and catch the mine would bear full responsibility for their actions. Arthur Russell was not one to give up at the first difficulty. Despite his troubles with the authorities, he continued to set traps and terrorize thieves. Of course, the police didn't like this, but they couldn't intervene because nobody sued Russell. Instead, they began to pay attention to the theft reports they received from him. The videos he recorded helped the police find and arrest the thieves. One day, Russell thought that his friend Boots, who also happened to be his cat, could help him in his mission against the thieves. But what would Boots' job be? What should he do? All he needed to do was eat and defecate in the litter box. The easiest job in the world. Then Russell would make a bundle of cat poop and wait for the thief to show up. In addition to the feces, the package also contained a note that read, "Dear thief, you've been caught on camera. The file will be handed over to the police. Theft of mail is a felony." Can you imagine the look on the thief's face as soon as he opens that package? Priceless. Russell was really enjoying it. Anyone who has been the victim of a burglary and lost something of value can fully understand how Russell felt. And there are worse. The story of Christine Hyatt, another theft victim, will give you an idea. Christine has a daughter who suffers from diabetes. Because of this illness, she is dependent on drugs and equipment, which she buys online. But these products rarely reach their hands. In just 1 year, 20 packages were stolen from Christine's door. 6 of them were intended for her daughter. Can you imagine the anger and despair of this mother? How much longer could he put up with this situation? Today, America is facing an epidemic of mail theft. A solution to this problem has not yet been found. Christine was forced to build makeshift mines, just like Russell, to find some peace. Criminals had taken over the entire neighborhood, and the citizens had reached their limits. Christine and Russell decided to take matters into their own hands and fight back, because somebody had to. But not everyone appreciated this. This issue was discussed a lot in social networks. There was also a controversy about whether the citizens' actions against the thieves were right or not. Surprisingly, some took the side of those who stole. For example, someone wrote that if you leave your stuff out there unattended, it's not a crime for someone passing by to take it. It's incredible to support package theft. Who knows? It might have been the thieves who wrote these. Anything inside someone's property belongs to them as long as the land is theirs. Taking something from another's property, even if it is just a flower from his garden, is called theft. These things are self-evident. But don't be surprised by the absurd opinions of some. A large number of people online supported our hero Russell and his neighbor Christine. People who had been victims of theft testified to their experience, but also to the contempt they felt for thieves. They highlighted the inability of the police to arrest the perpetrators. If justice were served, the thieves would get a resounding message. They would no longer trespass so easily on foreign properties for fear of arrest. What would you do if you were Christine or Russell? Would you take the law into your own hands, or wait and hope the police would come to your rescue? However, it needs a lot of attention. It would be unwise to do anything illegal and risk being handcuffed because they are not doing their job properly. Tell us your thoughts in the comment section. Until the next time, thanks for watching and see you soon.